Ethan and Ava were the couple everyone envied. They'd been together since college, building a life that seemed perfect from the outside. He thought they were a team, partners in crime forever. But forever has a way of surprising you. As he walked up the path to their shared apartment, he noticed an unfamiliar luxury car parked in their spot. Ava was ambitious, always networking. But the sounds he heard were not of surprise. They were muffled voices from the bedroom, low whispers, and then laughter. A man's laugh, deep and unfamiliar. Not in Ethan's stomach tightened into a block of ice. His heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat of dread. Ava tangled in the sheets with another man. The man was handsome, looked rich, and had a smug smirk on his face as he looked at Ethan. Ava's eyes widened in shock. A pathetic Ethan. It's not what it looks like tumbling from her lips. Out. But it was exactly what it looked like. The world tilted on its axis, the sunflowers dropping from his numb fingers, scattering yellow petals on the floor like shattered pieces of his heart. The takeout containers fell too, spilling noodles and sauce, a messy, ugly stain on their once clean life. The man, whose name Ethan later learned was Leo, just pulled the sheet higher and laughed. Dude, you should have knocked. Ava started crying, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of frustration, of being caught. Ethan didn't scream. He didn't shout. He just stood there, a hollow shell, and said, "Get out." Both of you. Leo dressed quickly, not even bothering to look at Ava, and brushed past Ethan with a condescending pat on the shoulder. Ava followed, still trying to explain, but her words were just noise. The door slammed shut, leaving Ethan in the deafening silence of his broken home. The smell of cheap perfume and betrayal hanging heavy in the air. The days that followed were a blur of pain. Ethan felt like a ghost in his own life. He packed Ava's things into boxes, each item a tiny dagger to his heart. The photos on the wall, their smiling faces, now mocked him. He took them all down. He found out from a mutual friend that Leo was the son of a wealthy investor Ava had been trying to impress for work. The betrayal was deeper and more calculated than he could have ever imagined. He poured all the pain, all the sleepless nights, all the energy he'd once poured into Ava, into his code. He named the app ConnectSphere. It was brilliant. It had a unique algorithm that was more intuitive and human-centric than anything on the market. He quit his job, cashed in his savings, and went all in. All in. His friends, seeing the fire back in his eyes, rallied around him. One was a marketing genius, another a financial whiz. They believed in him and in ConnectSphere. They worked out of Ethan's garage, fueled by cheap pizza and a shared dream. They were a true team. There were moments of doubt, times when he felt like giving up, but then he'd remember that smug look on Leo's face, Ava's dismissive post, and he'd code harder. Meanwhile, Ava's life wasn't the fairy tale she'd been posting about. Leo was charming in public, but behind closed doors, he was controlling and dismissive. He treated her like another one of his acquisitions, a shiny toy to show off. The upgrade she'd bragged about was a downgrade in every way that mattered. The wealth was there, but the respect, the kindness, the genuine connection she'd had with Ethan was gone. A year passed. ConnectSphere was ready to launch. Ethan and his team launched it with a modest marketing budget, relying mostly on word of mouth. But the app was so good, so different, that it caught fire. It started on college campuses and then exploded. People were tired of the superficiality of existing social media.
Wow.
They loved ConnectSphere's focus on genuine connection. It went viral. Within 6 months, it was the most downloaded app in the country. He was on magazine covers, giving interviews, being hailed as the next big thing. He stayed humble, always crediting his team. He was rich, yes, but more importantly, he was happy. He was fulfilled. He had built something meaningful from the ashes of his heartbreak. A major tech conglomerate, the very one Leo's father was a primary investor in, wanted to acquire ConnectSphere. They offered an astronomical sum. Leo's father, a ruthless businessman, only cared about the bottom line, and ConnectSphere was a golden goose. The acquisition meeting was set. Ethan walked into the towering glass skyscraper. Not as the heartbroken boy who'd had his life shattered, but as a confident, successful CEO. Ethan conducted the meeting with cool professionalism. He laid out his terms, his vision for the app's future. At the end of the meeting, Leo's father, impressed, extended his hand. "We have a deal, Mr. Reed. You've built an incredible company," as they were leaving. Leo tried to catch Ethan's eye, a flicker of something. Was it jealousy? Regret? In his expression, Ethan just gave him a slight, knowing nod and walked away. He didn't need to say a word, but karma wasn't done yet. The acquisition made headlines. And in one of the articles, there was a feature on Ethan's journey, a brief mention of the difficult breakup that spurred his innovation. He didn't name names, but the timeline was clear. The internet, being the internet, put the pieces together. Ava, who had recently been dumped by Leo and was now working a low-level marketing job, was exposed. Her old upgrading post resurfaced and went viral for all the wrong reasons. She became a meme, a cautionary tale of betrayal and bad choices. She had to delete all her social media accounts. Ethan never reveled in her downfall. He was too busy building his new life. He had found success, yes, but more importantly, he had found himself again. He learned that true strength isn't about avoiding pain, but about what you build from it. He eventually met someone new, a woman who valued his kindness and brilliant mind, who was his true partner. His revenge was never about destroying Ava. It was about building a life so incredible that her betrayal became nothing more than a footnote, a catalyst for his own amazing story. And that truly is the best revenge of all.